All right, and we're back with problem number 11 from your Geometry Chapter 2 self-test, where we are given a conditional statement. So we are told, consider the conditional. If x is less than 1, then 1 over x is greater than 1. And we have three parts of this, three things we need to do with this statement. We have to give an instance of the conditional. So what that means is let's give an instance in which this conditional is true. Under what instance would this conditional be true? What's a number that actually does this work for? Does this statement work for? So we need to make sure that our number x that we pick is less than 1, because that's the antecedent. That's the condition we are working under. That as long as this happens, as long as the number is less than 1, then 1 over x will be bigger than 1. So I'm going to pick a number that's less than 1. Let's pick x is 0.5 or x is a half, because x is less than 1. Then 1 over x is bigger than 1. Is that true? Well, if x is 0.5, then 1 over x is going to be 2. Is that bigger than 1? Sure is. So this is an instance of the conditional. Not the only instance that works, but it is an instance that does indeed work. If x is 0.5, that's less than 1, then 1 over x, 1 over 0.5 is equal to 2, which is bigger than 1. That's an instance. Let's give two counterexamples to the conditional. So now let's find an instance in which this is not true. This statement does not make sense. It's not a true statement. So I'm going to pick x equals negative half, because negative half is less than 1. But what would 1 over negative half be? 1 over negative half is negative 2. Negative 2 is not bigger than 1, so this is a counterexample, because the antecedent is satisfied. We have a number that's less than 1 and negative 0.5, but our 1 over x is not bigger than 1 as the statement says. So this right here is a counterexample. So one counterexample is x is negative half. Let's try to find another one. Let's try x is negative 5, because negative 5 is less than 1, but what's 1 over negative 5? 1 over negative 5 is negative 0.2, or negative 2/10. Negative 2/10 is not bigger than 1. So this is another counterexample, because we have satisfied the antecedent, but our consequent is not true as stated in the original conditional. Because 1 over negative 5 is negative 2/10, which is not bigger than 1. So we have two counterexamples right here to the conditional. So now let's add a phrase to the conditional so that it becomes true. And just based on what we have here, and we can do many other instances possibly to add a phrase or to see what phrase we should add. But the phrase I'm going to add is that, well, x can't be negative, because when we get a negative x, then all of a sudden the 1 over x comes out as negative, which is not going to be bigger than 1. But if x is positive, it's going to work. So if x is bigger than 0 and less than 1, then 1 over x will be bigger than 1. Because as long as this x is positive, it worked here, and it will work for all of the x's that are less than 1 but bigger than 0. You can try those out to see. Then our 1 over x will be bigger than 1. But negative numbers aren't working, so you have to have this, we put this extra restriction in here, and now this is a true statement.